Okay, let's do this properly. I'm going to walk you through peptide reconstitution from the ground up. And I mean the ground up. Because I have had this conversation more times than I can count. And every single time, there's at least one person who gets lost at step 2. So we're going to slow it down, break it into pieces, and by the end of this video, you will never need to ask anyone how to do this again. Save this, bookmark it, send it to your friends, tattoo it on your forearm, whatever it takes. There are 2 conversions you absolutely must understand before you touch a vial or a syringe. If you skip this part, nothing else will make sense. So stay with me. Let's start with syringes, because this is where most people get confused immediately. When you're working with peptides, you're going to use 2 different types of syringes at different points in the process. The first is a standard larger syringe, the kind you'd see in a clinic. This one is measured straightforwardly in milliliters. Easy, no surprises. The second is an insulin syringe. This is the one that throws people off. If you look at an insulin syringe carefully, you'll notice it has 2 sets of numbers on it. One side reads in milliliters, and a standard insulin syringe holds 1 milliliter total. The other side reads in units, going up to 100. Here is the only piece of math you need to lock in right now. 100 units equals 1 milliliter. That's it. They are measuring the exact same volume. Units are just a smaller, more precise way to express it. And precision is the whole point when you're working with small doses. A big syringe gives you a rough estimate. An insulin syringe lets you actually be accurate. So when someone tells you they drew 30 units, they drew 0.3 milliliters. When someone says they drew 50 units, they drew half a milliliter. The language is interchangeable once you understand the relationship. Think of it like inches and centimeters. Same distance, different scale. One just gives you more granularity. And while we're here, insulin syringes come in different sizes. You can get a full 1 milliliter syringe, a half milliliter, even a third of a milliliter. The smaller the syringe, the more precise your measurement. For most peptide work, a standard 1 milliliter insulin syringe is exactly what you need. Now let's talk about the compound itself, because this is the second place people lose the plot. Peptides are measured in either milligrams or micrograms, depending on the specific compound. Some vials will tell you they contain 5 milligrams. Others might express a dose in micrograms. You need to be comfortable moving between both. And the good news is, there's nothing complicated about it. It is simply the metric system. 1 milligram equals 1,000 micrograms. Full stop. So if your vial says it contains 10 milligrams of a compound, that is identical to saying it contains 10,000 micrograms. If someone tells you their dose is 250 micrograms, that is the same as 0.25 milligrams. You are just moving a decimal point. If you made it through middle school math, you can handle this. The reason this matters is that when you're calculating how much to draw into your syringe, you need to know exactly what you're working with, in whatever unit the dosing protocol uses. Mixing up milligrams and micrograms is how people end up with doses that are 10 times too high or 10 times too low. Pay attention to which one you're working with. Your peptide arrives as a powder. Specifically, it's a freeze-dried or lyophilized powder, which means the water has been removed from it to preserve stability during shipping and storage. Before you can use it, you need to add that water back in. That process is called reconstitution. The liquid you're adding is called BAC water, bacteriostatic water. It comes in a sealed vial, usually 10 milliliters, which is the same as 1,000 units if you're thinking in insulin syringe terms. BAC water contains a small amount of benzyl alcohol, which prevents bacterial growth and keeps your solution stable across multiple uses over time. Do not substitute this with regular water or saline. Use BAC water. Once you combine the BAC water with the peptide powder, what you have is a solution. And the most important characteristic of that solution is its concentration, meaning how much of the active compound is present per milliliter of liquid. Concentration is what determines how many units you draw to hit your target dose. This is the core of Reconstitution math. Get this wrong and everything downstream is wrong too. Let's use a concrete example. Say you have a 5 milligram vial of a peptide, and your target dose is 1 milligram. Scenario 1. You add 1 milliliter of BAC water. Now your solution contains 5 milligrams per milliliter. Your syringe holds 100 units per milliliter. You need 1 milligram, which is 1/5 of 5 milligrams. So you need 1/5 of 100 units. That's 20 units. Draw 20 units. Done. Scenario 2. You add 2 milliliters of BAC water. Now your solution is more diluted. There are still 5 milligrams total in the vial, but they're spread across 2 milliliters instead of 1. That means 2.5 milligrams per milliliter. To get your 1 milligram dose, you need to draw 40 units instead of 20. Same dose, more volume, less concentrated. Here's why that matters. More diluted solutions are easier on the injection site and give you a little more room for human error in your measurement. If you draw 1 unit more than intended in a highly concentrated solution, that error represents a bigger percentage of your total dose than if the solution is more diluted. This is why most protocols recommend using 2 milliliters of BAC water as a default for standard-size vials. It's a practical buffer against normal human imprecision. Once you understand the framework, you can apply it to any peptide, any vial size, any unit of measurement. The math doesn't change. Only the numbers do. If you're working with a compound measured in international units instead of milligrams, like certain forms of growth hormone, the same principle applies. Add your water, calculate the concentration per milliliter, divide your target dose by that concentration, and convert to units on your insulin syringe. Let's say you have a 20 IU vial and you add 2 milliliters of BAC water. That's 10 IUs per milliliter, or 10 IUs per 100 units on your syringe. If you want 2 IUs, you need 20 units. If you want 4 IUs, you need 40 units. Simple proportional reasoning. Nothing more complicated than that. The one thing that catches people every time is this. If someone tells you they're taking 25 units of something, that statement is meaningless without knowing 2 other pieces of information. How many milligrams were in the original vial, and how much water was added. The unit draw alone tells you nothing about the actual dose. Concentration is the missing variable. Always ask for it. Always know it yourself. Let's recap the whole process from start to finish so it's locked in. Your vial of peptide is a freeze-dried powder. You reconstitute it by adding BAC water using a larger syringe. The amount of water you add determines your solution's concentration. For most vials, 2 milliliters is the practical standard. It keeps things diluted enough for comfortable injection and forgiving enough for real-world measurement. Once you know your concentration, milligrams or micrograms per milliliter, you calculate how many units to draw on your insulin syringe to match your target dose. You draw that amount. You inject. That's the full process. Every step is arithmetic. None of it is guesswork. If you find yourself guessing, you've skipped something in the calculation, and you need to go back and find the missing number. I want you to understand something. None of this is complicated. It just requires you to slow down, do the math once, and not skip steps. The people who get confused are almost always the people who tried to jump ahead before they understood the foundation. So do the work. Run through the numbers before you ever pick up a syringe. Write it down if you have to. Check it twice. And if you're supporting someone else through this process, send them this video instead of trying to explain it from scratch. Because that, I promise you, will save you both a lot of time. Inside my free community, I cover everything you need. Sourcing, protocols, nutrition, training, and ongoing support, so you're never making these decisions alone. The link is in the description. It costs you nothing to join and ask questions. Good luck, be precise, and do the math.